Before I open it for questions, there's I didn't write what I'm about to read to you, but I saw it a couple of years ago on Mother's Day, and Sunday we're coming up on Mother's Day, and he entitled it The Mother's War. Mother's Day is, to be honest, somewhat of an annoyance. It's manifestly one of those tedious hallmark holidays wherein everyone is supposed to run out and support the revenue stream of cardboard manufacturers in the name of expressing gratitude to mothers, fathers, grandparents, and anyone else to whom we might be related. I imagine it won't be long until September 18th is declared Anonymous Sperm Donors Day, which will probably be celebrated by giving matching card sets to one's two mommies and lighting a candle for dear old anonymous sperm donor, whoever he might be. Mothers are not only important, they are absolutely vital due to their position as frontline shock troops in the ongoing centuries-long struggle for the survival of Western civilization. Despite the fact that their maternal instinct has been harassed, criticized, mocked, belittled, and subjected to a 40-year effort to indoctrinate it out of existence, our mothers stubbornly continue doing the only thing we actually need women to do in order for our civilization to survive: bearing and raising children. We don't need female doctors. We don't need female scientists. We don't need female entrepreneurs. We don't need female producers of PowerPoint presentations. And we really don't need female politicians. While we can argue about whether such luxuries are beneficial or detrimental to society, there is no arguing the empirical evidence which proves that civilization has survived without them before and could easily do so again. But without mothers, there is no civilization. Without mothers, there is no future for the civilized. Europe is in the process of discovering what a world without mothers is like. It is an ugly picture, a brutal picture. It is a probable future that promises to be much worse than the most exaggerated images of past patriarchal oppression ever painted by Betty Friedan or Gloria Steinem. Without mothers, there is only barbarism and the choice between the brothel and the burqa. Motherhood is a sacrifice. It may mean putting off a college education and a career, or even giving them up entirely. It may mean sacrificing a flawless figure. It may mean sacrificing dreams. It definitely means putting 2, 3, 4, or more lives ahead of your own. But motherhood is also an expression of hope. Motherhood is a vote of confidence in the future of mankind. Motherhood is the brave voice of a woman saying, "I will not live life for today. I will create life for many tomorrows." Cards, gifts, and flowers are no adequate expression of gratitude for this living statement of faith. In the ongoing war against Christian civilization, it is the mothers who matter most. The sterile secularists don't fear Christian intellectuals or Christian pastors. They regard the former as petty annoyances, and there's little need to worry about 1 weekly hour of Christian teaching on Sundays overcoming 40 hours of secular reprogramming from Monday to Friday. But they fear our mothers, who can create children faster than they can manage to indoctrinate them. And they are downright terrified of our homeschooling mothers, who rob them of their primary means of creating a new generation of secular barbarians. Every time a woman says, "I do," every time a wife turns to her husband and says, "Let's have another baby," every time a mother hugs her child and says, "How would you like me to be your teacher?" she is striking a powerful blow in defense of her faith, her family, her church, and God. We should celebrate these bold decisions, these audacious acts, as victories, not just for the family and the faith, but for civilization and mankind. It is not enough to thank our mothers. We owe them a debt that cannot be repaid. But we can, and we must, love them, honor them, support them, and sustain them as they faithfully continue to wage their mother's war. And let me tell you that I see it as I look back and I look at the families of people who have raised their children. And I should clarify and say not all of them are always walking in the faith of their parents. Sometimes you have the sad circumstance with one of your children turns away from the faith. But if you've taught them, and if you've taught them well, you don't have to have the regret that says, if only I had done this. What you can say is, I know what I put into them, and I know that they heard the truth. And that's an important thing, because one of the things you'll discover is that you didn't create your child really. You may have done the means by which the child was there, but God had to determine whether or not that there was going to be a conception. And you don't, you're not responsible as to whether or not that person ever lives his faith, but you're responsible to have taught the faith.